Hello and welcome to the final lesson on the tutorial how to edit Halloween flyer template. My name is Maria. I'm the designer and the author of the template, so I'll be guiding you through this tutorial. In this lesson, we'll be talking about how to edit the file in Adobe Photoshop. First of all, let's open up the Photoshop file. This is a CS5 file. If you work in a newer version, you'll be able to get along. You'll have a little bit more functions, but I'm working with this because this is the minimum version in which you can edit the file. Now, as you can see, like in all the previous lessons, this workspace is completely blank, so we can open up actually the tools that we're going to be needing in order to edit the file. First of all, let's open up the file. We can go to File, Open, and then browse through our files to find the appropriate ones, or you can just drag it from the Windows Explorer. It's much simpler that way. Okay, so we have the files open. Now let's open up all the panels that we need. First of all, let's open up the Layers panel. We'll go to Window, Layers, and here we have the Layers panel. As you can see, the first one is this Marks and Info page. Turn it off. Make sure when you're sending this to your printer, you either delete this layer completely or leave it turned off. So my suggestion is when you're sending it to print, delete this layer, because this is a technical information you will need to know where to position your guidelines and so on and so forth. As you can see, this design has the text layers and the design itself. Each element is created from shapes, so you can easily modify if you want to change the size, the resolution, whatever. You can do it quite simply because these are all shape files and they will not lose when you enlarge them. That's why I leave all of my designs with the shape files. Now, the next thing we need to open up is the Swatches panel. We'll go to Window, Swatches, and open up that one. Okay, and finally, let's open up the Characters panel. We go to Window, Character, we can open that one up. Now, if we had largest amount of text or paragraph text, we might need to open up the paragraphs, but since we're not working with paragraphs, we're just going to keep it simple. Okay, so let's start with color editing. You can change individual colors of the design by selecting, okay, let's go to, this should be road. Let's find the castle. Okay, let's find the castle. Now, it's a shape, so you can change your colors by double-clicking on that shape, and now this color picker Windows opens up, so you can either change it like this, or as we did before, you can just type in your values and press OK, and that would save the changes. Now, that's one way of doing that, and it's quite tedious. Now, something a little bit more faster would be for us to, let's say, pick a color. We're going to use this as a primary color, and there's one other that's being used a lot. It's this yellow. Okay. So let's say we want to change this shape. Now we have a foreground color and background color here. Changing this is quite simple through a keyboard shortcut. You just, if you want to change it into a foreground color, like make sure that you position your colors properly in this Tools panel. You press Alt, Backspace, and it will fill it automatically with a foreground color. If you want to change that to the background color, you select Control, Backspace, and that's it. So you can go through individual colors like that and change the colors you need to. Let's say we're gonna make spider yellow, and so on and so forth. This is one way of doing it. Now, if you wanna create your own color scheme, the colors that you have created here, you can just simply click on it and then add to swatches, and this color will be added to your swatches panel. Or you can simply, okay, let me just put this down here. No, still too big. Let's try, okay, I'm gonna do this. Still too big, still too big. Okay, no way, this is good. Let's try this way. Unfortunately, my monitor doesn't want to work with me. Here on top of this, you'll have something called New Swatch. You press that and it will automatically add the foreground color you have selected. Okay, so that's another way of adding your colors and creating swatches. Now, since this is a fairly complicated design, there are a lot of gradients here, and the way you change gradients, all the gradients are, let me find that. Let's open up pumpkin 1, and let's say the pumpkin, shadows, and highlights. The way I change them is through layer styles. Now you're going to see, as you see here, this is a little FX icon. You double click on it, it will open up the layer style, and you will see gradient overlay here. This is the one that controls the gradient. You can change the blend mode, the opacity, you can change the gradient itself, you can change the angle of the gradients, whether it's linear or radial. And the way you change the gradients, now you click on this one and you simply change the stop colors. I'm gonna make something atrocious here in order to see the change. Let's make this some really funky green. Okay, and once we are done, okay, this one is actually under the hat. Okay, let's change it, and we have changed our gradient. Now, if you made a mistake and if you just want to leave it be, you can simply copy the gradient, or if you just want to change that color scheme to all the other gradients, you go here on the FX, click copy layer style, it's here, and then just simply go to the next one, or you select all of them, which I'm going to do. I'm going to do quite a lot of them, and just simply click paste layer style. Okay, and it will change all those gradients to match all the elements of the first one. So that's copying and pasting the gradient layers. Anything that is basically in this layer style, whether it's gradient, whether it's shadow, inner glow, outer glow, whatever it is, it's the same way of changing it. You go to the specific element, change it the way you want, you can copy it and paste it to all the other elements. So that's when it comes to the layer styles. Now we're going to talk a little bit about transparency. Like in all other files that we did in the previous chapters, these pumpkin shadows are actually have a lower opacity and the blending mode of multiply. So in order to change that, you just select those, you select layer. You can change the blending mode. Let's put it exclusion so we can see it, and then we can change the opacity. Okay, so basically that's it. You do the same thing for all the layers you want to change. Okay, now let's go to the final part of text editing. Now, text editing, let me put this hat on. Okay, so here's the text layer. You have all the texts here. You can see which texts are used. Now, like in other previous lessons, you can either double click on the layer, which would select all the text immediately, or you can first select the type tool, hover over the text, and then select whatever you want to select. Let's say, okay, that's it. We type it in, and let's say we changed all of this like in other previous layers. You can select this last part has different sizes, so when you type it in, if it's a little bit bigger, you can just change the size of the text so it could fit in those guidelines. Now here's a little trick on how to, because this is a fairly complicated design and there's going to be a lot of looking and searching, and let's say you go right click on this one, trying to find this particular layer can be a little bit of a mess. So here you have on top something that's called auto select, and you have group or layer. Make sure that it's on a layer. Okay. And now, if you want to select a specific layer, you just zoom in, and let's say we want to select this layer, press Control on your keyboard, and then left click, and you'll go directly to that layer you want to edit, which is awesome, especially when you have so many files like this. For instance, I just want to change this one. Finding it in this way would be a true nightmare. Okay, so we've edited our text files. Let's say we changed everything we wanted. Hopefully you will not change it with this hideous green color. But let's say we want to leave it like that. The next step before sending it to print is to actually convert all this text into, well, you can't convert it into outlines, but you can rasterize it. Select all the text files, go right click, let me just pull this over so you can see it, right click, and then you have something called rasterize type. You rasterized it, you save the color, you save the text, so there would be no confusion when it comes to printing, and simply go file, save as. And I'm just gonna name this edit raster. Okay, you can save it with layers, you can save it as a copy. I'm gonna just leave all the layers in, and it gives us a little bit notification if it's open in the versions previous to CS5. It might have issues. But that's what you get in every version of Photoshop whenever you have nested files like this. Okay, so that was it. This was the final chapter. If you want to check out any other lessons in this tutorial, please look at the links below. Thank you very much, and see you soon.